Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I want to talk about Doctor Who once again, touching upon that great topic of great companions that never were in the history of Doctor Who. These are background characters and or actors and actresses who really stood out to me for one reason or another, that I just thought, in their one-shot or dual appearances in the history of Doctor Who, they would have been much well befitted of further travels in the TARDIS through time and space with the Doctor. And in this particular case, I want to talk about an actress and character that had been sort of rumored to be the replacement for Clara Oswald going into Series 9 before there was confirmation that Jenna Coleman would be staying on. And that is Shona McCullough, the character from Last Christmas, as portrayed by Faye Marsay. And I really loved her portrayal. She really stole the show in a manner of speaking as this background character, Shona, from the dancing musical interlude dealing with the dream crabs and everything at the start of the episode to the quips that kept flying, dealing with Santa Claus and all this stuff, Nick Frost and everything like that. Just, she was the perfect embodiment of this great character. And you could have definitely seen many fun sort of reactions to aliens and other worlds and all this kind of stuff, invasions and everything like that. And toward the end of the episode, everyone in that episode is mistakenly believing themselves to be scientists in this, North Pole kind of framework and everything, all product of this dream vision that everyone was sharing by, created by the dream crabs. And so we find out that she just works in a shop. She's kind of Rose Tyler-esque, if you will, or Clara Oswald-esque when we first meet these respective companions. And that, to me, is what really stuck out to me, because Shona is a character who, as I say, she has those quips, she's very likable, she has a lot of personality, and she's kind of reacting fairly well to all the absurdity surrounding her and everything in this given scenario in Last Christmas. But here's where I thought it would have been an interesting turn to bring her on further adventures in time and space. I don't want something too similarly unfolding to what happened with Rose Tyler, what happened with Clara Oswald and everything like that. I would have loved to actually seen a modern incarnation of what eventually happened to Perry Brown, a classic series companion, where we see Shona, taken through time and space, going on all these adventures, maybe not necessarily always getting along with the Doctor and everything like that. That was the adversarial relationship for the most part in the early going between Perry and the Sixth Doctor. But what I'm really angling toward is I would have loved to have seen, because here, toward the end of Last Christmas, are we seeing a Shona who's kind of living just a very ordinary life, and you get the hint she has like a list of things, and Forgive Dave, I think, insinuating a boyfriend is one of those things, and she checks it off, and she just seems like she's very much dissatisfied with her very ordinary life. And to take her and whisk her away from that and show her all the wonders of the universe, I think this would be something that she would much more gravitate toward. I would love to see a character who really is so dispassionate toward the life that surrounds them that they actively want to leave Earth. They don't want to go back. You could say that was the case with Rose or whatever, but a large part of that was she was falling in love with the Doctor. I want to go a different angle, or I would want to go a different angle with the Shona character, where she's falling in love with time and space, and maybe she falls in love with someone in an alien culture, kind of like what they tried to pass off Perry in her sort of final appearance. She went off and married some alien guy, whatever. I haven't watched Trial of a Time Lord in a while, those stories, so I don't remember the minute details of how all that worked out, but it just seemed like hullabaloo. It came out of nowhere, left field. And this is something I would actively want to investigate. I think back to the Matt Smith era where you had, like some of these characters coming in like Queen Nefertiti and everything like that. And you have, sort of a vague romance burgeoning between her and sort of the African hunter dude whose name escapes me all the time, Lestrade from Sherlock, the actor, I should say, playing both roles. And like, I really would have been fascinated to see kind of this burgeoning romance in an alien sort of environment. What if Shona meets somebody in an early sort of misadventure or adventure? Maybe she meets a time agent, something like that, who happens to be an alien. maybe they're on the run, they keep bumping into him, and the Doctor has to really sort of deal with being, for lack of a better term, a matchmaker in time and space, you know, and seeing this companion never quite warming to the TARDIS, just looking for something, you know, aggrandized beyond that, you know, very plain stated normal life back on Earth, and just not wanting to go back, not have anything to really bring them back. You know, a lot of the time we have had this domestic sort of appraisal of companions where we get to know their families. You know, you think of Rose, you think of Martha Jones, you think of Donna. And I would love a companion where there is none of that, just for a change of pace, just to see this companion, you know, maybe she's even borderlining that adversarial quality between she and the Doctor. Maybe she's not even concerned for the well-being of Earth. Maybe they are, you know, matched up with some sort of invasion, Daleks, Cybermen, something along those lines. And this is something she is completely unconcerned with. Maybe she's selfish. And it'd be the first time the Doctor would have to deal with a companion who is that way, but isn't angled toward him. You know, like the Rose thing, where she was very much kind of arguably selfish in her love for him and everything, and she would eschew her entire life for him. Well, what about a character who would eschew her entire life for everything? You know, not settling on the Doctor, not settling in the TARDIS, not settling on her very rudimentary life on Earth, and just wanting something more, and perhaps even skirting the line of villainy. You know, we kind of had some of this touched upon toward the end of the you know, whole journey with Clara Oswald, where she got full of herself and she believed herself almost invincible. And, you know, it would be interesting to see a character playing out similarly to that, but again in a different direction, where it's gravitating away from the Doctor. The Doctor has to contend with a companion he can't ever seem to win over. And eventually it's like a bitter scenario. You know, I think back to in the whole comic lore, when they introduced the second Robin after Dick Grayson, and this was a character who was very unliked and unloved, and people said he was too snarky, too quippy, he was too much of a, pardon the expression, a dick. And they actually actively, when given the chance, DC Comics gave everybody the chance to call a 900 number and vote for whether they should kill him off or save his life. They voted to kill him off. They hated him that much. I think it's Jason Todd. And I would love just to shake things up, just to add a little vitality to the normal sort of Doctor-companion relationship. I would love to delve into a companion that is not the tried and true, impressed by every little last thing, maybe things here and there, that conform to their own wanting to be aggrandized to the universe and escape that earthly sort of prison they find themselves in. But, you know, somebody who isn't immediately in league with the Doctor, somebody who has to earn that place in the Doctor's perspective and maybe never even quite gets there, you know what I'm saying? And I just think that would have been a highly fascinating turn. For the Shona McCullough character, she's immediately endearing to audiences, but it would be, you know, with that in mind, with how standout she was in Last Christmas, I think it would have been a hell of a, you know, sort of character study and given a lot of depth to Doctor Who, to have a companion who is very likable from the audience perspective, but just make there exist a rift between she and her homeworld, she and the Doctor, and all that kind of stuff. You know, I think there would have been a lot of interesting storytelling that could have been done within that sort of framework. And by the end of whatever series she would be along for adventures on, as I say, you know, see her sort of depart the TARDIS, having now decided to marry into wealth, maybe an alien prince or something, kind of akin, again, to calling back on what they did with Perry, Purple Gilliam Brown and everything like that, but actually have it play out so we could see it happening, not just come out of nowhere with it, you know, like they did. That's about all I remember of it. From the Trial of a Time Lord episodes. It like made no sense. Just happened. One episode she's turning into a bird. Next thing you know, she's going off with this guy. So yeah, I would have loved a little more investigation along those lines. And I'd love to hear from you guys, my fellow Whovians, if you agree with me, love it or hate it, this whole concept of bringing Shona McCullough on further adventures in time and space in the TARDIS with the Doctor, or if you would have loved to have seen her character, but, you know, much more befitting of a beloved companion who is fast friends with the Doctor and all that kind of stuff. Any other potential story directions you might have or you know, have in mind, that kind of thing. Just love having that conversation, especially about Doctor Who, a much beloved fandom for me. And so yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.